Deborah Brown works with clients to define and decide their lives to incorporate their personal as well as professional aspirations. As a senior ranking consultant in the IT industry for 14 years, she knows firsthand how difficult it can be to attain work-life balance and what happens to your spirit when you give all you have to the job. Her personal desire for fulfillment and witnessing so many other professionals experiencing similar changes were the impetus and inspiration for her creating her company, Optimal Leap Inc. Deborah is a graduate of the University of Miami, where she obtained 2 master's degrees in biomedical and industrial engineering. In her corporate career, she worked in management consulting, where she had the opportunity to lead teams and support their advancement. Welcome, Deborah. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fine, Dr. Gill. How are you?
Fantastic. Well, you have made quite a transition from where you were and what you are doing. So tell us a little bit more about what you do and who you serve now.
Okay, so I am a life and executive coach, and I work with successful professionals and executives who, despite their success, they're feeling that something is missing. And I should go back and talk about what I mean by successful. Typically, society tends to judge how successful we are by our income level, when in fact we know that success is defined by the individual, really. But yeah, it's that person who is successful, but they're not feeling it. And I typically see clients fall in one of 3 categories. It's, they do well on the job, but other aspects of their lives are just totally neglected or just not being nurtured. And then there's a second category where they do well on the job, but they have lost the joy for one reason or another. They may be just ready for the next chapter of their lives, career-wise, but they're not sure what that looks like. And then there's
it's interesting. Oh, you've got a third category. Wow, go ahead.
There's a third case where they're just not happy with where they are in life in general, and they need to figure it out. It's like they just don't know what's doing it, but it becomes the investigation.
Well, it's true. I mean, there are many people who judge success by how much money they're earning, or perhaps even their title, what the title that they carry is. And that's why a lot of people, when they lose that title, they don't know who they are anymore because they've been wrapped up in all of that. And certainly you're a great one to coach them on this, because you went from being a high-ranking consultant in the IT industry to now being a life coach. I mean, you can't get more different than that.
I know.
So tell us a little bit about how long you've owned your business.
So I made the official transition to entrepreneurship just over a year ago. So I'm a newbie, but it's been a great experience and a big learning experience.
And why did you choose this, Deborah? I mean, that's, I think, a question that people are wanting to know. This is a show about women in business, and you had a wonderful position and you made good money. Why would you transition to something so different?
So I will tell you, and it's not even so different in a sense that in management, I had teams, and I the best part of my job then was actually mentoring my teams and doing the touchy-feely stuff, if you want to call it that. I would be also teaching junior colleagues at the company's university. And so I've always been interested in the touchy-feely aspect of the job and impacting people on a more personal level. So this really became a natural transition for me. But I just wanted to do more of it than I was doing in the current position.
So did you have any fears or trepidations about going into business for yourself, and especially in a different kind of business?
Definitely.
What were some of those fears?
Yeah, I can't even hide that. I mean, the only thing I knew from college was working for someone. And the thought of going out on my own, that alone was the fear. And again, it was, of course, changing from something that my resume had 14 years of something else on it. And I was truly putting myself out there in totally new terrain.
You know, it's interesting because I've never worked for anybody else. I mean, I did in some respects. I mean, I started working when I was 13 and I worked for people, but I always created my own jobs. I always created my own salary. I always created what I did by myself. And I was in business at 21 and I've been in business ever since. And it's interesting. It never occurred to me to go look for a job. I mean, it just never occurred to me. On the other hand, when I heard that people got benefits and paid vacations, and very often when I went to events and conferences and found that I paid for all of that myself and people were there paid for by their companies, and if their companies didn't pay for it, they would never even think of going on their own. That was really a shock to my system. And I said, wow, I never knew this was like this before. Maybe I made the wrong move. But do you wish you had made the transition earlier?
Not at all. I, I really appreciated the time that I had for my IT position, but I think that if I made the transition earlier, I would have missed out on some of the experiences and the relationships that I had during those years. And I really am a big believer in I am where I'm supposed to be at any particular point in time. And so that also helped with my journey.
Well, that's a wonderful attitude to have, Deborah, because, I mean, some people could say, I wish I had, I had done this years ago, but you valued your experience. So that's a wonderful, wonderful attitude. So what were some of the challenges that you faced as a new business owner? I mean, all of a sudden you were without all these things I just talked about, the benefits and the insurance and the paid vacations and a guaranteed paycheck. So what were some of the things that you faced?
So I will say those were things that I definitely missed. Having that steady check in the account every week. Yeah, that was something that was different for sure. But I would say that the two big challenges that I will mention here that I guess I wasn't prepared for, but it became clear why after. And it's the fact that you are wearing not many hats, but all hats at some point in time when you own your own business, especially when you're starting out. So that was really interesting, really handling every aspect of your business. And when you're in corporate, you have a team and people have their specialties and so forth, and you turn around and you're like, wow, it's me alone. Which leads me to the next point of sometimes it feels a bit lonely. And I mean, the way that I got around that, of course, you will hire people to do certain things. But the way I got around the fact that it can sometimes feel like a lonely journey is by joining network groups. You know, doing a lot of networking. I'm a part of a women's professional group. And that really helped. You're just working with people who are on the same path.
It's interesting because they say that entrepreneurism is the loneliest place in the world because people don't really understand what you're going through. And hopefully, as a business owner, all business owners, no matter how far up they go and how many people they have on staff, if they notice something wrong, they're going to take care of it. If they see a piece of paper on the floor, they're going to pick it up. If they see a garbage that hasn't been emptied, they're going to take it out. They may say, well, gosh, I'm chief operator here now, and I do have people to do this. But again, you can say that if they don't do it, it's got to be done. So what advice would you give to someone starting their own business?
I would say the number one thing would be to find a mentor, to really get a good feel of what you're getting into, what obstacles are ahead. Either a mentor or a coach or both. But they can see the path that you are about to embark on and help you just not face the pitfalls that they probably faced. So it just speeds up the journey overall. having a
So
mentor.
really, even a coach needs a coach, right?
Oh, yes.
And that's
Definitely.
my philosophy. I try to tell people that it doesn't matter how high up you go. There's always somebody, A, who knows more than you do, B, can help you even if they're not in the same profession, but they see things from a totally different aspect than you do. So a coach is a very important thing. And I really admire, especially CEOs who are at a very senior level, uh, who still have coaches. And I know many of them. Most of my friends who are very high up in their business professions also have coaches. And I think that's very important. So have you found, because you're still kind of a newbie, being in it only a year, have you found the experience as rewarding as you thought it would be?
Dr. Gail, even more. I think
That's wonderful.
yeah,
Wow.
there's nothing more rewarding than seeing someone have a transformation or grow into their own awareness of who they are and how they show up to the people around them, and to know that you had something to do with that.
Yeah, there is a lot of reward in being a coach. There's no question. I know I am so proud of my mentees and my coachees, as we want to call them, because when they go on to wonderful things, I say, wow, maybe, just maybe I had a little part of helping them along the way. So that's fabulous. So,
Exactly. Especially when they do come back and tell you how it's changed their lives. You know what 3 months with you did, or it's very rewarding.
so have you found that you are being pulled towards particular kind of individuals or businesses who you coach, or are they all over the place?
Well, I would. It's all over the place right now, but I will tell you that there is a bit of an inclination probably toward the IT world, and I've seen, and I think the attraction is there because people know that I understand them. So I've seen where people jump to say I need to work with you because they know that I understand what their world is about.
Yeah,
But
you're talking their language.
exactly, and so that's where the attraction comes from. But really, I'm working with people from different industries.
Well, that's interesting because I do think that it's important that you have a background in what you're helping them with. But I think also when you have somebody that comes from a totally different world than you do, you come at it from a different perspective as well. So that's important too. So do you have a personal mantra?
I do, and I actually adopted this about 3 years ago. I was actually at a Tony Robbins event where I learned this, and it's life is happening for you, not to you. And I'm telling you, Dr. Gill, when I learned that, it changed my outlook totally.
How did it change it?
It because okay, first of all, it basically means that life is happening for your highest good always. And when you can really take that on, you realize that there's less to worry about and less to get frustrated about. It's like my outlook turn, like when something initially is not going so well, it's like my outlook turned immediately to, I wonder what good is going to come out of this. It's like a totally different mindset that you take on when you really embrace that. And there are
Well,
so many
that's true.
times.
That's true. That's like when they say the universe will provide. Now, you've got to do a lot of things to help it provide, but the universe will provide. And they say that when you are doing the things the right way and you are doing everything possible to make something happen, that the universe will direct it in the manner in which it's intended. So I guess that's what's happening with you, is that you did your work for 14 years. You were very good at it. You were educated in it, and then you had this calling to do something else, and it hasn't been easy, but you've been drawn to do a good job, and the universe is providing for you at this point. So I think that's fantastic. So go ahead. I know you wanted to say something else.
Oh no, I was just saying that there are just so many times that you think something is going to, it's something in the moment is just not going right, and you can't see something turning around, and then later on you realize, of course, 2020 is hindsight is 2020. You realize that it was the best thing that could have ever happened for you?